This week on Hermitcraft. Everybody got a new PC, and they're all using Mumbo's base to test it.
Yeah, it drops below 30.
Minecraft isn't even a game, it's a benchmarking program. Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is Pixel Riffs, our writer is LoyXP, and no, the season isn't over, Zed. Get back here. Oh, there he goes. Yes, the Civil War is over, and everybody now needs some time to heal. For quite a few of them, this means going on a vacation. Grian to Norway, Zedaf to America, and False Symmetry to somewhere. Well, really all we know is she's just taking a break. The rest of them are getting retail therapy with new computers, Doc, Mumbo and Azuma in particular, and regular therapy, as far as we can tell. Heck, Cubfan and Good Times with Scar managed to go on vacation in-game. That's next level procrastination for you. But us being silly aside, the show did go on, so let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week, as the inevitable collision of Concord and Architects leers above us somewhere in the future. We'll start with Jevon, who evidently de-stressed by playing with a giant fidget spinner.
I think our main goals now should be finishing the top, but also starting to develop the bottom.
This week, he fills in the juicy center in a king-size time-lapse, as well as theorizing on what to put on the inside and the underneath of the main structure. The promise of an underwater construction is not entirely alien to the person whose apartment currently resides in the side of an underwater ravine, but where large bases are concerned, one can't overstate the importance of pre-planning and infrastructure.
Because I'm not really familiar with doing underwater bases. That's not something that I've really ever done.
Which is how Tango Tech made sure to leave enough space for 200 furnaces behind his storage system. Now, it wouldn't be Tango if all of them weren't hooked up to a system using every conceivable trick with hopper minecarts to smelt at a ludicrous speed of 20 items per second.
They all went. Here they come back, distributing the items.
Sure, the experience stored in those poor furnaces will go to waste, but really, it's a 200 furnace array, only slightly less impressive than the Concord Super Smelter, which is out of business anyway, so who cares?
But we're over here for a reason. In order for my ridiculous smelting array to get kicked off, I need 200 stacks of dried kelp.
Retirement doesn't stop Concord from going full home improvement, as both Cubfan and Scar set up their forever homes around their golf country club. Where Scar goes for the blocky modern feel and Scar-scrapey design, Cubfan looks up a video by fellow hermit Keralis and drops an A-frame house with the colours adjusted for the neighbourhood and a golf cart in the driveway. Both of them will have quite a bit of fun replacing windows, since their houses are right on the active golf course.
And one little trick I found for the windows is just put dirt in there. That actually hopefully is going to save time, so we don't need to, get concrete, then place them over there, and then add blocks above it, things along those lines.
In the club itself, or rather underneath it, Scar expands the pleasant infrastructure with a whole set of variant toilets, a storage locker room where the doors open into a wood plank, and a whole movie theatre to watch Joe Hills' vlogs on. Overground, Cub puts the last tweaks on the golf course with refreshment carts, hole numbers, and an overall map of the course, and test it out for himself for a personal record and possibly the first ever 18-hole golf game played in Minecraft.
Yeah, does the door... Oh, it's not closed.
All right, well, don't look too close.
We're very open here. We're very, very progressive here at the Concord Country Club.
No, we're not. We don't watch people poop.
The smell of beta testing attracts Azuma Void, who also goes ham on the trident throws for a pleasant weekend on the green, in a game whose entire objective is to play as little of it as possible. His second favourite toy for the week is the Schematic mod that helps him both envision the nether hub for the season, envy being the defining word here, and finally decide on what bizarre pattern to go with for the lower part of his Guardian Farm base, although that's more of an achievement of creative single player than anything.
So it has worked out, but kind of in a strange way. I do have night vision, so clear, Asuma, bam. That's a little bit more mystic, right?
Realising that with the nether hub on its way out, he's going to need a minecart elevator to reach his minecart elevator to reach the gold farm, Impulse SV decides to tear down everything he'd put in the nether and replace it with a ladder and a boat. Who needs redstone anyway?
So this seems to work. I mean, I took a little bit of damage there because I came in pretty hot. But yeah, as long as you got a little bit of skill.
While these solutions are sort of temporary, launching yourself at a boat and relying on right-click reflexes to save you is still pretty hardcore. At least he can use all those observers to finish off the shulker box reloaders at his trading area, finally calling that project done and celebrating by installing beacons so he can have all the effects anywhere in his base, until the inevitable expansion begins. False Symmetry laments her future absence and inability to work on the Nether Hub now that it has so much room for activities.
Because I do really want to help out with the actual building of this, and I really want to help build it. Not so much collecting resources, I've done a lot of that, and it's not the most fun part, let's say.
She does, in the meantime, find recluse in her fantasy base and its many purple roofs. On the way to expansion, she adds a mermaid statue overlooking the seashore, who no doubt would sell seashells. Zloy, I'm a native English speaker, you need much harder tongue twisters to break me. And starts work on a quartz clock tower, in an unintentional but amusing nod to actual clocks made with quartz parts on the inside. Yes, electronics are very fantasy. TFC's randomized note block clock was successful in driving someone mad. Himself. The long range of note block sounds could be heard elsewhere in the base and was too distracting while he worked on the overseer's apartment, so he heads back down to the experimental levels and replaces all the note blocks with trapdoors flipping open and closed, for a much quieter experience, unless that happens to be your bedroom.
Mostly, but it won't be heard from as far away.
The aforementioned Overseer's suite gets a fancy Vault-Tec logo and some private apartments where he can do the actual overseeing without having to leave his front door. Zedaf does his own share of tunneling, although the ones he has to deal with are infested with poisonous arachnids. Tunnel spiders do not rule.
Keep getting carried away. Oh, doesn't that look like a beautiful poster or something? Oh.
The goal of his trip to the abandoned mines is to gather name tags for the many dolphins he's about to unintentionally kill, now that the last one suffocated without an airblock. This makes his video basically the slowest loot crate opening ever, as he struggles to find the minecart chests where loot tables are ever in his favour. An attempt to fish the tags out is also made, but that really only nudges him towards just buying the darn things from Impulse's villagers. Unsurprisingly, the next dolphin he pets drowns too, because fish mammals don't see bubble columns as an air source.
Is this why Finley died? Oh goodness.
More animal rescues take place when Doc M logs back in for the first time since the Civil War, leaving Wool's Knight trapped on the battlefield but saving Gertrude the llama from the same grisly fate.
Because as you know, in the beginning I claimed the Mushroom Island and I have an idea now. Yeah, it's pretty much, I'm gonna build an interactive zoo.
Despite acknowledging the stock exchange is still in jeopardy with the diamonds missing, he still thinks it's worthwhile fixing the bush in his office and working on the subway station outside, setting up a realistic vending machine selling ender pearls and cookies. So basically it's his ender pearl shop, but not 200 blocks in the air.
Money gets taken out, machine does something, and voila, customer gets 16 cookies. Yum yum.
Hopefully that, or the new exhibits at his redstone shop, a rail duplicator, a rocket-powered randomizer, and a demonstration of leaf stone, will convince someone to hire him for his redstone skills. Rendog might be an early customer, but on the other hand he seems unusually comfortable setting up the massive hopper chains required for his latest project at the Fairy Pirate Grotto he shares with False Symmetry. The plan is to set up a storage system in a giant downward spiral, allowing them to just chuck anything they want down into a lake, which drains into an auto sorter. It's convoluted, it's artistic, it's Rendog. He also gets some long-awaited revenge on Iskal for paying for some big rocks with forged diamonds, returning some of the renamed lapis in exchange for a beacon purchase at Iskal's shop.
So you know what? I think I'm going to buy one beacon with 20 totally diamonds, and I think I'm going to buy another beacon here also, actually.
I basically gave him 2 beacons for lending me 2 boxes of stone. That's a pretty good price.
Joe Hills has some real diamonds and gets to spend them record shopping in the mall. Presumably he's doing this to assess how threatening the music discs are, or perhaps to see which he can use as backing tracks for some musical retorts, because he's still working on the musical threat emergency room, or as we like to refer to it, panic room at the disco. At least it's getting organised now, with a to-do list, a performance area, and the beginnings of a proper entrance and exit.
And he talks about how a lot of what makes something theatrical is that it includes elements of change. I don't know how much I personally changed this up. Did I change your mind?
Mumbo, in the meantime, is getting less organised by the second. His storage system is in disarray, his villager breeder just throws villagers at you when it works at all, and then, when it does work, the hapless testificate at the top of the thing gets struck by lightning and transmogrified into a witch.
No!
I'm in shock. Did I just look at that guy?
Luckily, Iskall turns up and takes one look at the villagers, and they start breeding again. With great power comes great responsibility. On the subject of witches, actually, Mumbo's witch farm perimeter became such a big task that he almost considered moving the project to a more waterlogged witch hut. But since then, he seems to have gone back on that idea and plans to just blast out the original hut with an army of TNT duplicators. Once he's done raining TNT on the landscape, at least he can retire to his carrot farm.
Fingers very crossed. I mean, you've heard that a number of times in this Hermitcraft season.
Iskall clearly has some experience getting villagers to get busy after reconfiguring his own villager breeder. Now the baby villagers' first experience of this magical world can be dropping 20 blocks into the icy waters of his lab, but at least it means the vegetable farmers won't get confused. This also prompts yet another redesign of the frozen base, with new borders for the pylons following the theme of the laboratory, and a giant observatory-style structure rising from the waters and keeping the villagers safe from the giant worm, I guess? I mean, it's Iskall, there doesn't have to be a reason.
And I promised myself to never use concrete again after last season. I remember why now.
And finally there's Grian, and for those times he ceases to be, there's the new business initiative he came up with. Really, for all those times he died and lost his things, or watched his neighbouring Spoon lose his things, it's no wonder his biggest get-rich scheme involves boxes with gear sets specifically for times when your old gear went up in flames. Planned to be incredibly expensive, the Did You Die shulker boxes will go to the market as soon as Grian grinds out more than one of them, which won't be soon, as they do include a trident.
Having one of these boxes is way more valuable than stacks of diamonds anyway, because this is what I would spend my diamonds on in an emergency.
Still though, grabbing one from the shelves should be faster than even trading all the gear from the villagers. On a side note, he still finds the time to infiltrate Mumbo's AFK station, go through his stuff, and rename some of the tools subscribed to Grian. At the very least, he won't die of starvation anytime soon, as the Iskall-provided farmers were finally dropped into his potato pillar crop farm and named accordingly to their ability of devouring universes. Which part of this process made them sound eerily like Zedaf is a question we're still pondering, but I guess that didn't stop them from devouring the world one potato at a time.
For you, you're going to be Garoth, Destroyer of Worlds. Yes, I do. And that means that you are Balrog, World Eater. Yes, very well.
In his final moments online, Grian starts building the Architect rail network station before departing from it to Norway. And that, coincidentally, happens to also be it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is Pixelriffs. If you want to see us breeding sheep in the sky to get iron ore, our latest episode of Cobble Clicker, a Bedrock map, is in this week's End Screen Theatre. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.